No, I sure don't.
I see. And after the Indians arrived here from the Trail of Tears, they didn't have anything, I don't suppose. Didn't they lose everything?
Yeah,
What little they did have, they lost.
Yeah, they lost everything and left their horses, cattle, homes, furniture, whatever they had. Wasn't much, but still, it was their furniture. And that's why I think little of the president, instead of giving time to get ready and pack up and leave like they ought to, move, why he just run the army down there and took them out of there right now and get out of here. Because the English are coming over, they got to have a place to stay.
Yeah.
And this is it. And so they took it. That's why the New England country over there, state, Carolina and all through up that way, why the English came over and took over. 1836.
Before the Civil War, the Creek Nation had completely rebuilt itself, hadn't it?
Yes, it has.
Would you explain some of that? They had a school system, tribal governments, and so forth?
Well, yeah, they had tribal government. They had, as I was told, they had a Congress. They had Congress of their own, and they conducted from there to regulate our Indian people.
Yeah.
And if anyone caught stealing anything, a horse or anything, they tried him. They either hung him or put him in prison.
Yes.
Yeah, that was Indian tribal laws. And to this day, they always say, well, now, if I owned 160 acres out here and some guy, criminal, come out there and stayed with me, he couldn't come out there after me because that's Indian land.
Yes.
They respect that. But to me, as I see it, if he broke the law and we're inside the United States, whether it's Indian law, or whether it's Indian ground or Hindu or Japanese, I should walk in there and get him.
Yes.
Because he broke. And did you bring me a junk mail? And I said, why are them old people crying and weeping? And we just little children cries. I never realized until I received the Holy Spirit, and about I was 9 years old when I gave my heart to the Lord.
Did President Truman ever talk with you personally about what were some of his harder decisions?
Well, no, not too much on that, but I know he had a lot of decisions to make, and they were hard. You just can't walk up and say, well, I'll make this and that. But what you may think is nice, it'll affect that group over here. And you sign this, it'll affect that over here.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of look, and you kind of compromise on things like that. As a chaplain for the state senate, I seen a lot of things that had to be made, and they had to wait a while and bring up discussion on it. That's why they have a lot of discussion, and in the state senate, and as well as in Congress, and even Carl Elberts, when he was there, I talked to him, and I used to kid him. I said, you ever see a Creek Indian scalp a Choctaw?
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah, Governor Nye there with him too?
Governor Nye right there with him. Oh, I just loved him. He's one of the finest men.
Like George.
Mm-hmm. Boy, he's sure a good man. And Carl Elberts, I said, you're one man I don't have to look up to. I said, I could just see eye to eye with you.
Yeah, well, same here. I think we're about the same elevation.
Yeah, Carl Elberts.
The little giant from Dixie, I think they call him.
Yeah, he's a little giant. He was a good speaker up there, and I sure did like that other one that took his place, that big fellow. Oh.
Tip O'Neill?
Tip. Oh, yeah, old Tip. Oh, I sure did think the world of him. And so, yeah, I met all them fellows up there.
Any other presidents that you can recall?
No, I don't have. No, not others. I was up there during the time that while he was in office up there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
When we were talking the other night, you had mentioned that when the Creeks came in, that they usually stayed within a 15-mile radius of their main tribal town. Is that correct?
Yeah, they try to stay close together and bring out these points. And Tulsa was our tribal headquarters here for the Creeks, and we're known as Luchabogas, Turtle Clan. Turtle Clan.
Yes.
Luchabogas. And we belong to that yet, kind of hold an office off and on. We meet every 4 or 5 years. When they think about it, we meet. But we just have a discussion there how we ought to control our people and work with our people and helping our people. And people comes here, all tribes, and they come here and they have some papers they don't understand. They're not educated enough to go, and they bring papers, and I'll check their papers over. And I always tell them, I said, don't you sign this paper. Don't you sign your papers unless your daughter or your son, the one that's well educated, to sign with you. And this is what it says, and this is what it means. That you're given consent for part of your land for road and railroad.
Yes.
And let your son also sign it. That's good there. They'll pay you for that. But have some of your relatives also sign with you.
Yes.
I never charge them a penny. And a lot of times Indians up there has to go to court, and old people there, while I interpret Creek in English to them.
Yes.
And he talks to me in Creek, and then I explain it to him in the English to the court, what he said, word for word.
How far to the west do you reckon the tribe settled when they came in?
Well, I don't think they went any further than, about from here to Cleveland. Cleveland and back west, all the way back.
Back south from Cleveland?
I mean south. Back this way, and we kind of stayed around Tulsa here, part of Tulsa, and Muskogee, clean down to Holinville and Eufaula in that category.
Did they call that North Fork Town at that time?
Yeah, North Fork's back this way.
Yes, sir. And the people usually stayed within a 15-mile radius of those areas?
Yes, yes, because they travel in wagons, horse buggies, and horseback. And a lot of people walked,
Try to stay within a day's trip of their main town.
Yes, Yeah,
Any
they try to
Indians?
stay close together.
And the Yuchi tribe, did they stay in this area around Sapulpa?
Yeah, they're mostly all settled around Kellerville and Bristol.
So, any on Rock Creek that you can think of?
Well, Rock Creek runs right straight through here to back towards north, up towards Keystone. And we lived on Rock Creek when we was living up there, about 8 miles right straight northwest of here.
Yes. And were there any Yuchi in that area?
No,
No
creeks. Yeah, creeks. The Utes kind of stayed together back towards Kellerville and Bristol. They have their allotment back there.
Do you recall from your ancestors a little Captain Yuchi?
Oh, what?
A man by the name of Little Captain? He was a Yuchi.
We could have had one. Some of those I haven't kept up with their people there on their tribe.
Or a John Nash.
Yeah, he was in there, but I don't know what he was there, whether he was an interpreter or what.
I believe he was a Yuchi, but you don't have any idea where he lived?
No, I sure don't.
I see. After the Indians arrived here from the Trail of Tears, they didn't have anything, I don't suppose, and they'd lose everything.
Yeah,
What little they did have, they lost.
Yeah, they lost everything and left their horses, cattle, homes, furniture, whatever they had. Wasn't much, but still, it was their furniture. And that's why I think little of the president, instead of giving time to get ready and pack up and leave like they ought to, move, why, he just run the army down there and took them out of there right now and get out of here. Because the English are coming over, they got to have a place to stay.
Yeah.
And this is it. And so they took it. That's why the New England country over there, state, Carolina and all through up that way, why, the English came over and took over. 1836.
Before the Civil War, the Creek Nation had completely rebuilt itself, hadn't it?
Yes, it has.
Would you explain some of that? They had a school system, tribal governments, and so forth?
Well, yeah, they had tribal government. They had, as I was told, they had a Congress. They had Congress of their own, and they conducted from there to regulate our Indian people.
Yeah.
And if anyone caught stealing anything, a horse or anything, they tried him. They either hung him or put him in prison.
Yes.
Yeah, that was Indian tribal laws. And to this day, they always say, well, now, if I owned 160 acres out here and some guy, criminal, come out there and stayed with me, he couldn't come out there after me because that's Indian land.
Yes.
They respect that. But to me, as I see it, if he broke the law and we're inside the United States, whether it's Indian law, or whether it's Indian ground or Hindu or Japanese, I should walk in there and get him
Yes.
because he broke